The budgets that were introduced would take us in a dramatically wrong direction. They double down on the dramatic and explosive spending increases that have got us in this predicament in the first place. I think we should do a much better job at reining in spending and not setting us up for further and further tax increases year after year. If we didn't spend all this new money and mostly centered on the reductions, we wouldn't need a $15 billion tax increase. We probably wouldn't need a tax increase at all with the savings the Democrats have outlined. So the taxes are being raised by choice, not by necessity, and by increasing all this new spending. First of all, it signals an admission of guilt that they're simply wrong about what they were funding, because they want to replace things they have funded for the past decade with new items. So that suggests they were wrong for the last decade, which kind of begs the question of what makes us so sure they're right about the new spending this time around. And also by raising spending so much, we're just setting ourselves up for having the same conversation in the future. The taxes the Democrats proposed will be really harmful. They will literally be taxing jobs out of Washington through their payroll tax, their innovation tax, and their B&O tax. But it is not just big businesses they're going after, it is regular people as well. They will raise healthcare costs, they will raise housing costs, and they will just tax the joy out of everyday life for Washingtonians, whether it's by taxing event tickets or raising hunting and fishing license fees, taxing Zyn, taxing adult beverages. Their creativity seems to know no bounds. There is a massive B&O tax increase that will trickle down to ordinary consumers, and for the first time in state history, and for the first time, as far as I know, any state in the country, they would impose what they're calling a wealth tax, but which is more accurately an innovation tax. And that will mean, if Washington passes that, that will mean that all of the economic success the state has enjoyed over the past several decades, thanks to companies like Amazon and Microsoft, Washington's position in that regard will erode extremely quickly as the next Jeff Bezos and the next Bill Gates will look to other states like Florida and Texas to start their new billion-dollar idea, and not here in Washington. So an extremely short-sighted idea that almost certainly is unconstitutional and almost certainly won't work anyway. There is literally a tax on jobs. And 2 years ago or 4 years ago, the legislature passed the Climate Commitment Act, which established a tax on carbon under the economic theory that by making something you don't want more expensive, companies will emit less of it. Somehow that same economic theory hasn't translated to their jobs tax, where they're doing the exact same thing. They are making it more expensive to give somebody a good-paying job, and somehow we're going to be surprised when that means we have less jobs in Washington. But it's not just businesses, and it's not just jobs they're going after. Like I said, they're trying to tax the joy right out of Washingtonians. Their budget assumes an increased tax on bottled beverages, an increased tax on all kinds of vacations that you or I might want to take. There's a tax on short-term rentals that's been introduced. It would increase liquor license fees, including banquet permits for things like weddings or parties. It would increase Discover Pass fees. It would impose a new tax on Zyn. They have a bill to impose a tax on wireless devices. There's an increased gas tax, a highway use fee, just all sorts of things that regular Washingtonians like to do would be taxed under this proposal. Oh, there's a $1 fee added to tickets to sporting events. Democrats are raising billions of dollars in taxes on businesses, but not content with that, are also nickel and diming Washingtonians out of every last joy they can find in life. Not only are they taxing recreational activities like Discover Passes, hunting and fishing licenses, and event tickets, they're also just passing costs right on to the middle class. Their property tax increase would directly affect middle-class homeowners. Their gas tax increases would directly affect middle-class and working-class families. The average cost of healthcare would go up by $1,400 per family per year under the Democrats' plan. So it would kill jobs in the economy. It would just torture the joy out of ordinary Washingtonians, and it would shift massive costs onto the middle class and working Washingtonians.